Hey, I wanted to take a minute today to talk about the concept of allowing people in your life to be wrong. And that sounds odd, I think, when I say it. And I want to be very clear that it's, for me, it's not about marking people as wrong. You don't want to be like, you're wrong, she's wrong, he's wrong. That's not the idea. The idea here is just to somebody, when you hear somebody talk about something that you believe to be an incorrect view, an incorrect statement, a non-factual statement, a, a challenging element or challenging thought to who you are, it's important to allow those people in those moments when we want to challenge them, to allow them to have their thought and to be wrong. You have to remember that a fair amount of the time that the people who you think are wrong, if you get into a discussion with them, they're going to think that you're wrong. And we, as people, we think to ourselves that all they need to do, all that person needs to do, is hear what I have to say or what I have to think on it, and then they'll understand. But that's exactly what those people are thinking. And so, for you to be for us to work well as this big communal and sometimes micro communal experiment that humanity is, we need to allow room for people to have differing thoughts. And it's not only different thoughts, because different thoughts can be something that you don't consider wrong. You can have a thought on something and somebody can have a parallel thought and they could be different but still in the same stream. I'm talking about when you think it's opposing. I mean, like literally think that somebody is wrong in whatever it is they're doing. It's okay for them to be, and it's okay for you to be wrong, and it's okay for there to be these incorrect in your feeling, incorrect views in the world, and so I wanted to just talk about that. You have to remember that we don't want to all be a school of fish, turning and bobbing and weaving and going around danger in quick movements in unison. That's not what we're designed to be. And I would argue that a lot of people who do think that it's their job to conflict or to get into an argument with, like we see on streets where people are arguing with other people that have come out to talk in contrast on a point. I think that, I mean, they must believe that if I give the right information or if I act in a certain way, then these people are going to change their mind, and they're not. Right? We all know that. People aren't won over by being yelled at or being told that they're wrong. That's just not how we as humans function. And so I just wanted to kind of put forth the idea that if you find yourself ever thinking that somebody's wrong, remind yourself that it's okay for them to be. It's okay for them to have thoughts, not only that differ, but are literally, in your opinion, incorrect. And even if you think that person needs to be told something, they don't. They don't need to hear what you think on what their actions are. And it's funny because it happened just this morning to me. I was at the gym and I was rowing, and I row hard and I row to get my heart rate up, and it's not proper rowing. And I live in a community that has a lot of rowers, and I have been told countless times on how to improve my rowing. And I know how to row correctly. I know the movements I need to do, but when I do row that way and I focus on what my pattern is, the way that I'm rowing, I only make it about 70% effort, and I just never even. I'm lucky to get to an aerobic workout. So this morning I was doing 1 minute on, 1 minute off, like sprints, and this athletic person sat down next to me on a rower and started rowing in great form. I was doing 10 rounds of this, and they sat down when I was in round 3, and I got to round 8 and had finished round 8 before they decided that they needed to give me some advice. And I'm fine with that. I'm fine with advice. At round 8 of anaerobic, high intensity training, I'm not the best person to talk to because my mind is really laser focused on what I'm doing. And he was polite. He asked if he could give me a piece of advice, and I told him no. And I told him, I was like, I know that's hard because I know as a rower how hard it is to watch people who don't row, with a smile. And I hope he took it well. But it's something, there's such a rowing community up here, and there's such a desire for everybody to row in the exact same way. And in my opinion, all of those people need to stop that. They need to stop believing that there's this one way to do something and there's this one way to approach something, and that everybody that they see doing it the wrong way needs to be advised, because they don't. If I had the rope around my neck and was dying, then yeah, somebody needs to be like, yeah, it doesn't go around your neck. You shouldn't die while you're rowing. But in general, I mean, if somebody is doing something and it seems like they are doing 10 rounds of it and are getting something out of it, then you don't need to comment. You don't need to tell people what it is that they're doing wrong. They can be wrong, and in that same moment, they can be right. That's it. Thanks for watching.